Hey there, guys. John here, and for video to respond to all this Grace Randolph nonsense that's been going on here. Look, before I give you a little bit of background here, okay? First of all, I don't know Grace Randolph from Adam. I mean, I met her once about, I don't know if it was 5 or 6 years ago at Comic-Con. She came over and introduced herself to me, and it was pleasant enough. Then a year or two later, I was doing the Masters of the Web panel. I was putting that together, and I had an agenda for myself that I wanted to have more female participants on the Masters of the Web panel. So I extended an invitation to Grace Randolph, even though she and I had never really talked before, but still, I extended her an invitation to be on the Masters of the Web panel, and she declined the invitation because she wasn't going to be in San Diego that year. And that's all fine and good, and that was fine. Another little piece of background information you need to have is the fact that I don't follow many people on Twitter. I mean, it's funny. My Twitter says I follow 70 people, like 70 people. But really I follow about 10. So I don't know who those other 60 are that says, but I got about 10 people whose notifications come up on my Twitter. And absolutely Grace Randolph is not one of those people. It's really just family and close friends. But another person who's not on my Twitter stream is Andy Signore. I don't follow Andy on Twitter either. So really the only way I hear anything on Twitter is when people send me direct messages. I mean, that's pretty much the only way I get anything on Twitter. But so that's the background. I don't follow Grace. I don't follow Andy or anything like that. Now, for a while now, ever since like Batman v Superman first came out, there has been an issue going around. Like some people would say things like, oh, there's an anti-DC agenda, or film critics are just on Marvel's payroll, or people are out to hate on Batman vs. Superman. And that's been around for a long time. Well, I mean, relatively long time, ever since Batman vs. Superman came out. And I've addressed that issue on Heroes. I've addressed it on my podcast. I've addressed it on my Facebook. I've addressed it a number of times. I've certainly never addressed it because one particular person said something and I had to respond to that one person. That just hasn't happened. So anyway, a couple days ago, a few more people write, and by a few, I don't mean like several hundred people. I mean like 5 or 6 people tweet me in the same day. Like, hey, John, what do you think of this, the rumor that there's actually an anti-DC conspiracy? What do you think about the suggestion that that Marvel's paying off film critics, and just stuff like that, right? So I put out this tweet. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but basically the tweet was this. Anyone who says that Batman vs. Superman has a secret conspiracy against it, that film critics are actually secretly have an agenda against Batman vs. Superman, is an idiot. And that's basically what I said. Anybody who says that is just stupid. Now, at the time, unbeknownst to me, I guess either that day or the day before, Andy Signore of Screen Junkies and Grace Randolph had gotten into a bit of a Twitter spat over that issue, where Grace Randolph was making suggestions that there is a conspiracy against DC, that there are a bunch of film critics out there who have an agenda against DC. And she named a couple of people, and I don't know how Andy got involved in it, but her and Andy started going back and forth and all that kind of stuff. Totally unbeknownst to me, because as I said, I do not follow Andy Signore. Not that I don't like Andy Signore. I like Andy Signore. I don't follow anybody on Twitter, basically. So I don't follow Andy and I don't follow Grace. I had no idea the two of them were feuding over this. All right. And I had no idea that I didn't even know if Grace Randolph liked Batman vs. Superman or not. I had no idea. No idea. For all I knew, she hated Batman vs. Superman. I just simply didn't know. So anyway, I had put out that tweet that said, anyone, not Grace Randolph, I said anyone who is trying to tell you that DC's paying people off or there's an anti-DC agenda is an idiot and is stupid. You shouldn't listen to them. That's just what I said, but it certainly wasn't in response to what Grace had said. So I guess somebody sent Grace that tweet that I put out. And Grace apparently realized I wasn't talking about her, because she's put out a tweet that said, that must not be about me. I mean, it's still on her Twitter. Go and look. She even realized that. She says, this mustn't be about me because of this, this, and this. And I was like, well, because it's not about you. However, I guess Grace did think it was about her, despite the fact that I've never talked to Grace Randolph. I have no interaction with Grace Randolph. I don't follow her on Twitter. I don't know if she follows me on Twitter or not. But for some reason, she thought that she was so center of the universe that any tweet about this subject must be about her. Because even though she wrote, hey, that tweet mustn't be about me, no, deep down inside that head of her, she rationalized somehow that the tweet was directly about her. Whatever. I mean, look, I can't control what anybody thinks. If that's what she thought, that's what she thought. I certainly know I didn't. But at any rate, then I think it was like a day later, I get people tweeting me saying, hey, John, do you see what Grace Randolph has put up on her Twitter page about you? I'm like, about me? Why is she talking about me? And what they were talking about was this. This is a tweet that Grace found or was sent to Grace, and she reposted and retweeted on her Twitter page to show the world. And as you can see, it's a picture of me and my wonderful wife, Anne, on the red carpet at Captain America Civil War. Now, I go to a lot of red carpets, but I was particularly looking forward to this one. And I took some pictures, and there are some pictures there. But she reposted these pictures, and look what she put in there with them. She put in there a bunch of dollar signs with a person scratching their face. And remember, Grace took this and put it on her Twitter page for all of her followers and sent it out to all of her followers. This is what she put up. She decided to make a direct attack on me, insinuating that by putting up pictures of me at a red carpet, even though I go to lots of red carpets, but anyway, even though I was at a red carpet, she put up pictures of me there with dollar signs and people going, you get what the insinuation is, right? Grace Randolph decided to take a shot at me and made an insinuation that I am corrupt, that I take money from DC, or not from DC, from Marvel. I take money from Marvel. I don't know how much money they pay me to say that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a bag of shit. I don't know how much money they gave me to say that I'm the only person in the world who didn't think Jessica Jones was all that good. I don't know how much money they gave me to say Iron Man 2 was a complete disappointment. But whatever. Grace Randolph believes, or at least wants to insinuate to all of her Twitter followers, look, you can see it right here. She took this, put it on her page. There's me at an event, and there's dollar signs with a wondering look of her face. Okay. So 24 hours ago, I've never thought about Grace Randolph in my life, other than to invite her to be on Master of the Web once years ago. And now she's putting up Twitter posts about me with pictures of me and pictures of my wife and some very insinuating and insulting things in there. Whatever. I wrote to Grace and I basically said, Grace, or I tweeted to her, I said, Grace, I don't follow you on Twitter. I had no idea what side of the fence you were on in this. Basically, what I said was, that tweet wasn't about you. I don't know why you're writing this. This wasn't about you. I'm confused as to why you think it's about you, but it's not about you. So I send that to her. So anyway, then I get into it with a few other people on Twitter, and I just put up some things that basically restate the case. Look, there is no conspiracy theory against DC out there. Some people like the film, some people don't. Just let it go. Well, then today, or yesterday, I should say, some people come into my office and they're like, John, have you seen what Grace Randolph is writing about you? I'm like, what? Why the hell is Grace Randolph writing about me? What the hell? What the hell? Why is Grace Randolph writing about me? What is she writing? And she had so much to say, she couldn't fit it into just a regular tweet. So she wrote up this big long thing and put it up as a graphic. And here's the graphic. So I want to get this word for word. So here's what Grace Randolph wrote. I'm going to jump down to like the third or fourth paragraph here. She said, Andy Signore, who of course is from Screen Junkies, Andy Signore and John Campea muscle their way into this conversation, hysterically twisting my words. Muscled my way into your conversation? Lady, I didn't want to be a part of your conversation. I was never a part of your conversation. You're the one who put up pictures of me with dollar signs and wondering faces, and now you're writing saying, I muscled my way into your conversation. I don't follow you on Twitter. I don't follow Andy on Twitter. I had no idea why. I didn't say you. I didn't mention Grace Randolph. So this notion that I muscled my way into your conversation is rather laughable and kind of psychotic. Like seriously, if you lived in the same town as me, I might be taking out a restraining order. So this notion that John Campea and Andy Signore muscle their way into my conversation, lady, I have no idea what you're talking about. I have never joined any conversation you've been in, nor did I want to be involved in the conversation. Anyway, she goes on and keeps writing. I refuse to back down. Was I asking you to back down about something? Anyway, she goes, I refuse to back down or give in to the groupthink that demands we all hate BVS. So I'm a part of a groupthink? What's a groupthink? Anyway, I'm a part of a groupthink that I demand that everybody hates Batman versus Superman. I will not be satisfied, nor will I sleep until you all admit you hate Batman versus Superman. Apparently, that's what Grace thinks. Grace goes on to write this. Upset that everyone on the face of the earth doesn't immediately agree with them. Agree with me about what? Oh, you're going to tell us. Okay. Upset that everyone on the face of the earth doesn't immediately agree with them. Things get ugly all around. That's on Signor and Campea. Really? You put up pictures of me and my wife on your Twitter with dollar signs and insinuations about my corruption and that I'm bought off and that I'm paid for. And I'm the one who made things ugly? Anyway, let's keep reading. Upset that everyone on the face of the earth doesn't immediately agree with them, things start to get ugly all the way around. That's on Signor and Campea and BVS haters who can't stand the idea that anyone might actually like Batman versus Superman or defend it. Really? So, I, John Campea, am a part of a groupthink that won't rest until everybody hates Batman versus Superman. And I am a DC hater that I cannot accept the fact that somebody may not agree with me about Batman versus Superman. I demand that everybody hates Batman versus Superman. Okay, you're a psychopath. And you clearly have no idea what you're talking about. Me? A DC hater? I call Batman vs. Superman my number one most anticipated film of 2016. And after I came out of seeing it, I put up a Periscope on my walk home from seeing it for the first time. When I got to see it a week before everybody else, I was walking home and I Periscoped and I was just really happy. I was really happy with the movie. And then a little while later, after I'd already gone to see the movie 3 times, I tweeted this. In late March, I tweeted, probably seeing Batman vs. Superman for a 4th time tonight. I totally acknowledge the problems with the film, but to me, the good is greater than the bad. That's what I wrote about Batman vs. Superman. Okay, genius? But apparently I'm part of this think tank. Anyway, and then I am a big DC film fan. All right? I don't just like Man of Steel, which is truly the first film of this new DC cinematic universe. I called Man of Steel this. This is what I tweeted back in April. Wrote, this isn't popular, back in April 2015. This isn't popular, but the more I watch Man of Steel, the more I'm tempted to say it's not just a great movie, it's a fucking masterpiece. Now, I know a lot of you will disagree with that. I know there's a lot of people that don't like Man of Steel. Don't worry, I'm not going to accuse you of being on somebody's payroll, and I'm not going to accuse you of having a pro-DC agenda. I'm not going to accuse you of having an anti-Marvel agenda if you don't agree with me about Man of Steel. Don't worry about it. And that's fine if you don't like Man of Steel as much as I do. Personally, I think Man of Steel is a fucking masterpiece. I like that movie more and more every single time I watch it. I think Henry Cavill is a fantastic, glorious Superman. I think he's incredible, yada, yada, yada. I could go on and on and on. The point is this. Why Grace is, first of all, Grace reveals the fact that she actually doesn't know what she's talking about when she suggests I'm a part of a groupthink that won't rest until that I just hate the idea that anybody might actually like Batman vs. Superman. Newsflash, you idiot. I am one of those people who likes and defends and stands up for Batman vs. Superman. As a matter of fact, I even went on Movie Fights, Andy Signore's show. It was my first time ever being on Movie Fights. And they even knew I was the guy they had to have on Movie Fights. Why? Because the movie fight that week was pro or against Batman versus Superman. And they wanted somebody who was pro Batman versus Superman, so they got me on the show. After I saw the movie 4 times, I went on the show and I fought and battled for Batman versus Superman. And guess what? I won. I won that week's movie fights on Screen Junkies. The point is, you kind of tip your hand that you're absolutely clueless when you write nonsense like this, saying Campea won't be happy till nobody likes Batman versus Superman. He can't handle that some people like Batman versus Superman. Like, what are you talking about, you psychopath? Seriously, again, I would seriously get a restraining order against you. You are dangerous. So I have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, first of all, you're saying Campea muscled his way into my conversation. I didn't want any part of your conversation. I've never been a part of any of your conversations. I'm not the one putting up insinuating pictures and all this kind of stuff, suggesting all this kind of nonsense. Then you say I'm a DC hater when every bit of evidence is to the contrary. I am one of the few Batman versus Superman supporters out there, you nitwit. Anyway, but what it really comes down to, Grace, and this is really what this is all about, is you kind of reveal your true motivation and your true insecurities with the last paragraph of that thing you wrote. Let's jump down to that last paragraph. Oh yeah, and Batman vs. Superman is a bold piece of storytelling, the shining of the superhero genre, which, by the way, everybody initially hated too. Well, there it is, isn't it? Now look, I agree with you. I think Batman Superman is a really good film. I like it very, very much. The difference between you and me, though, is that I'm secure enough, in my opinion, that if some people out there, or even the majority of people out there, don't agree with me, don't agree with us, Grace. Agree with us, you and me. You and me pro-Batman versus Superman people. If there are some people out there, or even a majority of people out there, who don't share our opinion about Batman versus Superman, the difference between you and me is that I'm not so insecure that I have to find an ulterior motive for them having a different opinion than me. You see, at the heart of this, Grace, is the fact that you really love Batman versus Superman, but you think your opinion is so important and so right that if other people, heaven forbid a majority of people, disagree with your opinion or have an opinion that's different than yours, you're so weak-minded that you have to come up with and conjure these despicable ulterior motives. Wait a minute. No. My opinion is the right opinion. So if all those people say they don't like Batman versus Superman, they must have an agenda. Because Batman versus Superman is wonderful. And if anybody doesn't agree with that, they must be DC haters, or they must have an anti-DC agenda, or they got paid off by Marvel. I mean, that's the difference between you and me. Like, you and me are on the same side. We're pro Batman versus Superman. And believe you me, Grace, there ain't a lot of us in this world, but there's a few of us. And we got to stand strong. But the difference between you and me is that when my buddy John Schnepp, who I know was dying to see Batman vs. Superman, he couldn't wait for that movie, and he was disappointed by it. See, the difference between you and me is that when I come across a John Schnepp who doesn't like Batman vs. Superman, I just go, oh, okay, let's talk about it. Boom, 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 boom. Why did you like it? Why did you not like it? Blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And I go, okay. Whereas you would go, you are a DC hater. You have an agenda against Warner Brothers. And you see, that's the difference between you and me, Grace, is that I'm cool if people think different things. I'll still stand by my opinion. You know how much hate I get when I call Man of Steel a masterpiece? I get so much shit thrown at me when people tell me that, but that's okay. That's okay. I stand by that because that's what I think about the movie, and I'm cool with that. And I don't think anybody who disagrees is on somebody's payroll or has some kind of anti-Man of Steel agenda or some anti-John Campea agenda just because they have a different opinion than me. But unfortunately, you, Grace, what you seem to do, because you love the movie and that's great, but you haven't seemed to be able to come to grips with the fact that it's okay for you to love the movie and okay for other people to hate the movie. That's okay. Because whereas I and most other rational people in the world, well, what most people who are fans of Batman vs. Superman are doing is going, hey, we liked it. It didn't work for you? That's unfortunate. I kind of wish it did, but that's okay that it didn't. What you do is you've climbed into this tower of ego and spewed out this venomous vomit, casting shade, accusations, and disparity on a lot of good people, whether it's a Jen Yamato or an Andy Signore or whoever else, all the people you decided to target and insult and say, there is something devious about you because you don't think the way I think. You don't agree that Batman vs. Superman was awesome. Therefore, you must be up to something no good. You are part of the group think. You're a part of the DC haters. Like, that's what you do. You've gone to that step where you vomit out insinuations. Again, look, I'm really hurt and upset that you, when I did nothing to you, you take these pictures of me, put them up on your Twitter, put on money signs, and you insinuated that I'm on Disney's payroll. That's what you did. You did that. Then you've pointed at other specific people in this industry who are good, honest people of integrity, whose opinions you may or may not like or agree with, and that's totally cool, but they're good people. And what you've done because of your insecurity and because of your weakness of mind is, because they didn't like a movie that you do, you had to cast accusations and you had to cast shade and you casted a lot of stuff. And then what did you do? And this was the lowest of the low. Then what you do is you cast all these accusations, you say all this crap about me, you write all this nonsense about me about how I'm a DC hater and how I don't want anybody like Batman vs. Superman. And then you get on your Twitter and go, oh, I'm done with this now. I'm fine with it. It's over for me. If John responds to this, then it's about his ego. No, Grace, that's not how it works. You insulted me. You put pictures of me and my wife with dollar signs up in your thing. You wrote out these long diatribes about me saying how I hate this and I hate that and all that kind of stuff, which if you just did the simplest little bit of research, you would have known that's all complete BS. And then you don't want anybody to respond to that? You cast shade on all these good people. You hurl accusations of all this derelict, awful, gooey stuff on people who are good people with integrity. And since your mind is so weak and you just can't handle this and people didn't like Batman vs. Superman, you had to call their integrity into question. Look, I really like Batman vs. Superman. I absolutely love Man of Steel. I think Ben Affleck is the greatest Batman we ever had. And as somebody who is a Batman vs. Superman fan, you are a fucking embarrassment to us. Grace, you are an embarrassment to us because you make all of us who do defend Batman vs. Superman just because we love the movie, but we're actually rational thinkers. Like the vast 99% of the people out here are rational, logical people. And then when you carry on like this, you are an embarrassment. You're an absolute disgrace and an absolute embarrassment to the rest of us. The fact that you cast all this accusations on all these people is completely embarrassing and humiliating. You've humiliated yourself. You're embarrassing people who are Batman versus Superman fans, and you're just a disgrace. So anyway, I've said my piece now. Contrary to your accusation, you muscled me into this conversation. I wanted nothing to do with this whatsoever. I wanted nothing to do with you. You and I have never had anything to do with each other. Why did you drag me into this? I just simply do not know. Why was your ego so unbelievably big that somebody's comment on Twitter that doesn't follow you and you don't follow, you had to convince yourself somehow it was about you and then drag me into it? I don't know. But you've made some horrible accusations and now I've responded. So I'm going to leave it at that. If you want to continue this on and you want to keep pushing this, by all means, continue it on. Other than that, you said a lot of shit. I've now responded. I'll leave it at that if you want to leave it at that. So you got in the first shot. I got in the last shot. You want to keep fighting? We'll keep fighting. I'd rather not. I'd rather go on to things that are more worthy of my time and you can go off, continue wasting your time, whatever it is you do. So anyway, that's my thought on that. Take it or leave it.